Hello everyone, my name is Gideon Besaidnout and I am an application engineer for Micrographics. Today we're going to have a look at Autodesk Vault and the Autodesk Data Management Server. Now when you do your setup for Vault, it's quite important to remember that you need to install the server or Autodesk Data Management Server console first, and then create your server, and then from there start installing your Vault client, and then setting up and mapping your Inventor project and your design data and templates folders as needed or required. Now in this small video, we're just going to have a look at the Autodesk Data Management Server and how we're going to create a new vault, and look at some of the administrator tools and functionalities. Now, when you install the Autodesk Data Management Server, it would run a few checks before it starts installing. After it's completed the pre-checks and the installation is complete, you can simply log into the server, and we do recommend that you log in as the administrator and do not create any passwords at this stage. Just simply log in. Now once you are logged into the server or the data management, you'll notice that you've got your server on the left, and there you get what we would call your vaults. From here you can simply right click and choose to create a new vault or attach an existing vault. So if I go to attach, you'll see that we can go look for the vault store, file store, and the vault name, and there you've got your advanced settings like data files, log files, file store, your vault name, and so on, where you can go and search for that specific part at the SQL servers. Now we're going to go and just have a look at creating a new vault. So I'm simply going to go right click and create a new vault, and you can create a new vault as needed. Now the first step would be creating your vault name. Now this can be something that's specific to your requirements. I'm just going to call this testing MGFX. Now it's a good idea if you leave the default location as your C drive. Most servers is just a normal PC that's running as a server, and just to leave it as is so that it's quite easy to find your file store within the server. You can select a location, but the recommendation would be to leave it as the default. From there on, you can go and press OK. And now Vault is starting to create your server. Now once the server has been created, you'll get a notification that tells you it was successfully created, and you can just press OK. And you'll notice I've got the new server right there. So I'm just clicking on it so that I can show you guys when it's loading in just a few of the things that you can see. So on the right side you can see the creation date, where the file store is located, the database size, and for instance the number of files and the average number of versions that's within this environment. Now one of the first things we're going to have a look at, it is a scheduled backup. So do you have the availability to set up a backup configuration. From here you can choose your backup location, your backup log file, the credentials that's needed, would it be Vault, would it be the SQL. So I usually just leave it as the Vault credentials so I can sign in with my Vault details. You can also choose if you want your Windows authentication. So there's your SQL credentials and there's your Vault credentials. From here you can choose between a full and incremental backup. So with the incremental backup, you can schedule an incremental backup. Just to show you, if I click on that, you can choose what you would like to backup and the starting date. Do you want to validate the backup files and ignore replicated files as an instance? If we go to a full backup, you can still choose the date you would like your backup to start and a specific time for your backup to run. From there you can choose, would you like to back up your content center libraries, would you like to validate the backup files, that's always a good idea, and ignore replicated files, and you can choose full backup days and select the specific day as needed or required. From here we're going back to the tools option and we're going to have a look at some of the administrative settings. Now here you've got your user and groups where you can create and manage access for users and for groups. Now to show you guys, when we click on the manage access, you can create your new groups and you can go and choose to edit specific information like the user profile, accounts, roles, which vaults it does have access to if you have specific or different vaults. You can also set up groups. You can also create and manage roles, for instance. Here you can see all your managed roles as needed or required. Just to go back to adding a new user, here you can see you can choose to display the name, the email address. Now that's a good thing if you just use the Autodesk account login details for different draftsmen, as they already do have an Autodesk account ID. You can also choose your profile, accounts. Now when we look at the accounts, now this is what they're going to use to log into Vault. Now it's a good idea because they do have Autodesk IDs. You can actually add their email address as needed in the required field. You can set specific roles. So you do have your administrator of the Vault. Do you want them only to have specific roles like item editor 1 or level 2, project administrator, security administrator, document managers, and so on. So you can see there's a few different types of roles that can be added. If I go to Vault, you can see I've got my own existing Vault and then the new Vault that I've just created. So then you can choose to give them access to both the different vaults or the single vault as needed. Now in most cases you'll only have the single vault. And then you can enable the user and put in all the necessary information as needed. From here we're going to have a look at some of the advanced configuration settings. Here you can see the username, the password, and the connection, and so on. And then your network settings. You can also configure the email configuration. And lastly, you do have your page size configuration and then your performance threshold. Now here you can choose to get a warning that will be displayed to the user if the number of files to be processed is greater than a specific value and specific files. So there's quite a few and quite a lot of different types of settings that you can set up within the data management server console. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow for more content.